Grammar Girl here. I'm Mignon Fogarty, and just a heads up that today's show was originally released back in November 2024 as a bonus segment for people who support the show, the Grammar Pelusians. If you like what we do every week and want to support the show and get ad-free podcasts and bonus episodes like this right away, become a Grammar Pelusian. Visit quickanddirtytips.com/bonus to learn more. And now, onto the show. I'm here with Fiona McPherson, senior editor at the Oxford English Dictionary, working on new words. We just finished wrapping up talking about beer words for the main episode, and now we're here to have some extra fun. I think I want to start with the quiz. I have you had all these beer words from the OED, and I thought, well, I wonder what's in the Urban Dictionary, and I can tell you there aren't many that we can share that are
I see. Okay. Yeah.
family friendly, not so much, but there were two that we could talk about. So the first one was pyramid. What do you think a pyramid is?
I'm going to say it's a pyramid of beer. You know, you sometimes get those like champagne ones, they sort of cascade down. I'm imagining that, but pints of beer.
Yes, actually, well, it's the empty cans. So
it's the cans. Okay,
yeah.
So just after consumption.
Okay. Like college kids make the but really good. And actually, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot here too. Like this
That's
is
fine.
I'm hoping that listeners can play along and also like guess what it might be. And the next one, the only other one that we can talk about
family friendly
that is family friendly was beer mussels. So what are beer mussels?
Okay, I can think of a couple of things it could be. I'm thinking about the whole idea of beer goggles, and that makes you imagine that other people are perhaps more attractive. So there could be an element of, I don't know, it makes you think that you're more muscular. But I'm going to go with it may not be real, but the apparent muscle sort of mass that you get from habitual kind of, drinking with your pint, because it's like repetition, doing reps with weights.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Actually,
have I gone a bit crazy?
No, that's like just your first one was right. Actually, it's the feeling of bravado, or that you're extra bold and strong when you. I'm actually incredibly impressed that you got them both. I don't think I would have.
I did not look them up either. I promise you. Yeah. Oh, I'm
no. She did not get the questions ahead of time.
No.
Nice. Yeah. Do you ever, as an OED editor, do you look to the Urban Dictionary and how things show up there?
Of course, because it's another source as well. So it's another, especially for maybe, I don't want to say transient language particularly, but certainly for maybe really modern slang. It's a good place to look to get an idea of what sorts of things people might be saying, and give you an idea of what it might mean. Obviously, we then do our own research, and we would, look into this and find evidence, because with a lot of these kind of things, as you said, people, they can put anything on there and they can, make things up. But it's really quite fascinating, especially when you hear, I don't know, I'm going to sound really old now, but when you hear some teenage slang and you think, what does that mean? And sometimes Urban Dictionary can be a really good way of just orienting yourself in, okay, I see, that's what it means. So yeah. But it's another place to look to see how language is developing and how people are describing it as well.
Yeah, that's great. So one of the things that I've read about the OED recently is that you're doing a lot more work on World English. And that was something that was mentioned sort of in the context of the beer update too. So how is that changing? What's going on there?
Well, the OED is always it's never just concentrated on English as it's spoken, say, in Britain, especially, or US, that kind of English, the more what we might think of as the more predominant varieties of it. It's always looked to describe English as it's used wherever in the world English is spoken. So whether that be Australia, South Africa, Philippines. I think the very first fascicle of the OED, so when it was first published, the OED was done in slim volumes, which we called fascicles. And the very first one actually included a word that was used in the Philippines, in Philippine English.
Hmm.
And we've always done that. But again, because we have more resources now available, that can obviously increase because we have so much more access to things which have been published in all over the world, in all parts of the world, and things which maybe hadn't been digitized before, but now we can actually search and look at. So we've been able to increase that, but it's a continuation of what we've always done. And now what we're looking to do in every update we do, instead of maybe having one update a year where we concentrate on a couple of varieties of English as it's spoken elsewhere, East Nigerian English or something like that, we're including with each update that we do a number of from different parts of the world as well. So it's just a way again of English is such a global language, it's it's not just the sort of preserve of one area. And if we're telling the story of language as an historical dictionary as we are, then these words are part of how English is used and how English is spoken. And so they completely belong, in the dictionary alongside a lot of the other words. So it's about broadening and doing more of it, but it's very much a continuation of what we've always done.
Yeah. Yeah, so we talked about Biraroo, which was from New Zealand, and
Mhm.
Beer which
Mhm.
was,
South
from
African.
South African. Trying to see if
Yep.
we missed any other beer-related ones.
I don't think we did with the beer ones, but for example, in this, well, maybe we, no, I don't think we had any other beer ones. We've added some words from Welsh English. We've added Rolex, which is not from Welsh English. It's actually Ugandan. It's used in Ugandan English.
Oh.
And well, I mean, I'm not going to turn the tables on you and say, what do you think it is? I'll just tell you.
Well,
It's
it's not
actually
the watch, right?
no, it's not the watch, exactly. It's a Ugandan street food type of a staple in Ugandan street food. And it's a kind of, I suppose, a playful, it's nothing to do with the watch. It's a playful twist on rolled eggs rather than anything to do with luxury watches. Yeah, and so that's one that we've just added. It has eggs in it, as you might expect. It's a kind of omelette and vegetables wrapped in a chapati, and I say usually street food. So we've added that as well this time. So that's just another example
So
of
it's more of a play on
different.
the sound of the words than
Yes,
etymology
exactly,
or
exactly. It's a sort of, I suppose, a humorous respelling after Rolex, but it's from rolled and eggs.
what are some of the other, world English words that were in this update that are especially fun?
We've added some from Welsh English this time as well. So one of them, I'll try my best to not to mangle the pronunciation. Iachafi,
Oh,
which is a Welsh expression is to express disgust or disdain about something. So that's one example that we've added. Also, there's a Guyanese word, towel, which is slang for a $1,000 bill.
oh, that
And
makes laundry sound more fun.
yeah, maybe more expensive though. And if laundry isn't particularly your thing, or $1,000 banknotes aren't your thing, we've also added waka jumper.
Oh, that sounds fun too.
Which isn't, it's probably, well, it's nothing to do with clothes.
Oh.
It's New Zealand politics, and it's a
Oh.
colloquial word for a member of parliament who moves from one political party to another during parliamentary term.
Oh, so
They're
what's a
known
waka?
a waka. Well, jumper, obviously, in that sense, it's going to mean uh, someone who jumps from one place to another. A waka is a Maori word for canoe.
Mm.
It's especially a canoe. It can be any type of Maori boat, but especially a canoe carved from a tree trunk. And then you are also, so that's originally what it meant. And then it can also be it's a broad Maori community or identity associated with common ancestors who are thought to have migrated to New Zealand in a particular canoe. So that
Oh.
idea of movement.
So it's not jumping from canoe to canoe, it's more like
No,
jumping
it's not.
from
Yeah,
group to group,
to group. Yeah.
but that comes from the Maori idea of all arriving on a canoe
Yeah, and
together.
from the actual boat, which is the earliest example. So idea of conveyance, some kind of vehicle. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Okay, well, let's wrap up with your, we always ask everyone for book recommendations, something you've enjoyed recently. It can be
Okay.
anything, you know, I mean, it can be a language related book, but just love to hear about, you know, what novels you're reading or what cookbooks you like or anything.
Okay. Right. Well, I've gone for 3 because I think you asked me for 3,
Yes,
so
I asked for
I've gone
3.
for 3. Okay. So, none of them are especially recent, but that doesn't matter. They're still books I loved. The
Yeah.
first is Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. And it's one of the most recent books that I've read. It came out in 2013, which
Mhm.
slightly horrified me, but I read it more recently than that.
Yeah.
And it's one that really stayed with me. It's one of those books where you can't wait to finish work or finish what you're doing because you want to get back to reading it. But by the same token, you almost don't want to read it because that's bringing you closer to the end, and then you won't be
Uh,
able to read it anymore. So it's got a very strange narrative structure. It has alternative storylines and all the possibilities that that throws up. It wrong-footed me to start with because I read it, read the start of it, and then it repeated it, but with a different ending, this first part of it. And
huh,
it wasn't until I kind of got myself, oh, I see what's going on here. But it was her. I really love the way she writes, and that really drew me in enough to realize, okay, I see what's going on. We're getting the same story, the same character, but a different ending to each of these little parts of her life. And it was I just absolutely loved it, and it's a book I've bought as presents for several people.
hmm.
So I think that had to be a choice. It blew me away, and it really stayed with me. So
Yeah.
um,
Sounds really
I
different.
it really was. It just, yeah. I'm not doing it any kind of justice in how I'm describing it, but it's lots of alternate storylines, kind of. But Back to the Future 2, which is not that great an analogy to make, although I absolutely love that film. But yeah, you've got to. It can be quite confusing as you realise that this is not what's actually happening. This is what if a sliding doors moment. I suppose what if something else had happened? But it's
Mhm.
absolutely fabulous book.
Nice,
Um,
and, you know, when you buy it as a gift for someone, it has to be great.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. But you've got to slightly persevere at the start until you realize what's going on, and then yeah, you're just hooked.
good to
Um,
know.
Secondly, I've actually chosen an autobiography, and I don't read that much nonfiction,
Oh,
but this is Le Freak, which is the autobiography of Nile Rodgers, who is the co-founder and still plays with the band Chic.
wow.
Um, and I've seen him live a couple of times, and he's got this lust for life, this absolute exuberance, which completely also is mirrored in this book. He's not had the easiest of lives. He's had quite a lot of heartache and hardship in his life. But it's fascinating here about the rise of disco and how the role the band played in that, and then the part he's played in music. So much of the music that we all know and love, he's had some kind of production hand in it or has actually, performed it. And even although he's had all this heartache, the absolute exuberance and the joyousness, it comes through the page, and it's such a wonderful read.
Who would that be a
That
good gift for?
Anybody who's interested in music, I would say, honestly, but even if you're, I don't know, you probably would want to be interested in music. I mean, certainly the biographies that I tend to read are people that I'm interested in, who I think have got an interesting story to tell. So I want to learn more about them. I may know a little bit about them, but this is the way of getting in. I'd say anyone who's interested in music, because even if you're not necessarily a Chic fan,
Mhm,
chances are you'll be a Bowie fan or a Madonna fan
mhm,
or Daft Punk
mhm.
fan. He's had a hand in all of those artists' work as well
Wow,
as many others. So
very
I'd
cool.
go I'd go with that. And my last choice, and I have to be completely upfront, this is actually written by a friend of mine, okay? But
Disclosure,
with
disclosure, disclosure.
always full disclosure, and that is called The Stillman by Tom McCullough.
Ah,
Now, the reason, when he wrote I knew he was writing a book, and he wrote it, and then he gave it to me to read. And I remember being terrified that I wasn't going to like it because, we can't love all the books,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And I'm very much of the view that life is too short, okay? And there are already way too many books that exist that we're just not gonna have time to read. So if you're not enjoying something, give up, find something else that you do love.
Mhm.
So I was worried about that because how do you turn around and say to a friend, like it. But
Yeah.
I needn't have worried because I absolutely loved it.
Oh,
So
thank goodness.
it's partly set in the Scottish Highlands, which spoke to me. I don't come from the Highlands, but so much of Scotland I recognised in it. And partly set in Cuba,
Hmm.
and I really loved it. And yes, it was nice that a friend wrote it, but I would have loved it anyway. I was just glad to be able to truthfully say, no, I really like what you've done here. So
Yeah. That's such
so
a
yeah.
relief. Is it a thriller? Is it a romance? What is it?
No, I was going to say it's literary fiction, which of course is not really a great description for anything. There's a little bit of romance in there. It's very funny in places as
Hmm.
well. Very the Scottish humour really comes across. A little bit of, I suppose, a saga with a small s because it's about family, and the Stillman of the title is someone who works in a distillery.
Mm.
So it's about his life and how his past has had an effect on his present, and how those two things gel or don't gel or have shaped him in the way he is. So anyone's just interested in a good story, I suppose I would say.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I always just love adding things, to my to be read pile
Me
from our
too, me
guests.
too. Although
Yeah.
my pile is way too big, but still.
Yeah. Same here, for sure. Yeah, well, Fiona McPherson, thank you again so much for joining
Ah,
us today to talk about all these fabulous words and books and life at the OED.
it's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you.